Winter's icy claws clutched at the land, turning the world into a desolate canvas. The wind howled through the skeletal trees, their branches like twisted fingers reaching towards the gray sky. It was a scene of bleak beauty, but my heart pounded with unease. I had been driving late into the night, the isolation weighing on my mind. An unexpected snowstorm had caught me off guard, and I found myself lost and alone on these desolate roads. My headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the road ahead like a beacon in the void. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the road. A man, tall and gaunt, stood in the middle of my path. He was wearing a threadbare coat that hung loosely on his skeletal frame. A thick layer of snow had collected on his shoulders, but he seemed oblivious to the cold. As I approached, he raised a hand towards my car. I slammed on the brakes, but the vehicle slid on the icy road, heading straight towards him. At the last moment, he leaped out of the way, his expression contorted into a macabre grin. He stood there, looking at me intently. His eyes were black pits, devoid of any emotion. Fear spiked in my chest as I realized that there was something profoundly wrong about this man. I rolled down the window, my hands trembling. "Are you okay?" I asked, but my voice betrayed my unease. He didn't respond. Instead, he reached towards my car again, his fingers long and claw-like. Panic surged through me, and I threw the car into drive. But he was faster than I could react. His hand latched onto my door handle, and he yanked it open. Cold air flooded the car, and I felt his icy breath on my neck. "Let me in," he whispered, his voice a grating rasp. I screamed and pushed him away, but he was relentless. His grip tightened, and he pulled me towards him. Snowflakes flew into the car as we grappled, the sound of our struggle lost in the howling wind. I managed to break free and stumbled out of the car. My feet sank into the deep snow, and I struggled to stand upright. He was behind me, his footsteps crunching on the icy ground. I turned and ran, the man's laughter echoing in my ears. I stumbled and fell repeatedly, but I kept running. The snow was making it difficult to breathe, and my heart pounded in my chest. Suddenly, I heard a voice behind me. "Ready to play?" I spun around, but he was gone. The laughter continued, mocking me from the darkness. I felt a cold hand on my shoulder, and I screamed again. But then silence. The road was empty, and the man was nowhere to be seen. I stood there trembling, my mind reeling from the encounter. I got back in my car and drove away, the horror of the night still fresh in my mind. The winter seemed to close in around me, its icy grip wrapping itself around my heart. And the man's crimson laughter echoed in my ears, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks in the coldest of nights. In the ghastly depths of a relentless winter, a chilling incident sent icy shivers down my spine. An encounter with a girl suspended in a frozen lake's embrace. I ventured into the desolate woods, seeking solace from the bustling town. As I trudged through the snow-laden trails, an eerie stillness settled around me. The skeletal trees stood frozen, their branches reaching out like bony fingers. Suddenly, a faint glimmer caught my eye. Off to the side, hidden beneath a thick blanket of snow, lay a frozen lake. Curiosity got the better of me, and I cautiously approached. As I peered over the icy expanse, my heart skipped a beat. Embedded within the crystal-clear ice was a figure, frozen in time. A young girl, her long dark hair flowing over her shoulders, lay motionless, her eyes staring up at the gray sky. A primal instinct surged through me, warning me to flee. But something held me back, a morbid fascination that drew me closer. I reached out and touched the icy surface, my fingers sending ripples through the stillness. That's when I first noticed it, a subtle flicker in the girl's frozen gaze. It was a slow, almost imperceptible movement, but it sent a chill through my very soul. The girl was alive, trapped within the icy tomb. Fear gnawed at me as I realized there was nothing I could do. The ice was too thick, and my futile attempts to chip away at it were in vain. I backed away, my every step heavier with trepidation. As I stumbled through the snowy undergrowth, I couldn't shake the image of the girl's desperate eyes. The icy prison had become her living nightmare, and I was nothing more than a helpless witness to her fate. The nightmarish vision haunted my dreams for weeks after. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her frozen form, her gaze pleading for salvation. The girl in the frozen lake had become a symbol of the horrors hidden beneath the surface, a chilling reminder of the fragility of life itself. And so, I carry the secret of that frozen encounter within me, forever haunted by the girl who could only watch as the unforgiving winter claimed her. In the icy grip of winter, as snow blanketed the land and turned everything a deathly white, a solitary figure trudged along the desolate road. I, a weary traveler, had been caught in the unforgiving storm, lost and desperate for shelter. The wind howled like a banshee, biting at my exposed flesh. My body shivered uncontrollably as the cold seeped into my bones. I stumbled forward, visibility reduced to a few blurry feet. Just when my hope began to dwindle, a dim light appeared in the distance. With renewed vigor, I stumbled towards the light, my heart pounding with both fear and anticipation. As I approached, I realized it was a small, wooden cabin, its windows boarded up and its roof covered in a thick layer of snow. Summoning what little courage I had left, I knocked timidly on the door. To my surprise, it creaked open slowly, as if inviting me in. Hesitantly, I stepped across the threshold into a darkness so thick, I could have reached out and touched it. As my eyes adjusted, I noticed a single window at the far end of the room. A flickering candle illuminated a crude table and 2 chairs. I made my way towards the warmth, my body aching for relief. But as I got closer, I saw something that sent a chill down my spine. There, sitting in one of the chairs, was a man. His face was obscured by shadow, but his piercing eyes seemed to burn into my soul. His body was emaciated, his skin a sickly shade of white. He wore a long, flowing robe that seemed to meld with the surrounding darkness. I took a step back, my voice catching in my throat. Who are you?" I whispered. "Welcome, weary traveler," the man's voice replied, cold and raspy as the wind outside. "I am the one who has been waiting for you." His words sent a wave of unease through me. Fear constricted my lungs as I realized I was trapped in this desolate cabin with a strange and sinister man. I backed away towards the door, my heart pounding in my chest. "I'm sorry," I stammered. I don't want any trouble." He chuckled softly, a chilling sound that echoed through the room. Trouble? There's no trouble here, only the promise of a warm embrace. With lightning speed, he lunged towards me, his gnarled fingers reaching for my throat. I screamed and dodged away, my legs carrying me towards the door. But it was useless. He moved with a swiftness and agility that belied his frail appearance. As he closed in, I realized there was no escape. With a cruel grin, he wrapped his icy grip around my neck. The world went black as his cold kiss sealed my fate, and I was lost to the icy embrace of the White Reaper.